Your media, where you are.
Once again, I'd like to welcome you all to another episode of The Calling with myself, Neo. Um, if you prefer, Mkhulu. All right. And, you know, I would figure that you are here because you're spiritually curious. And, there's a bit of confusion. You'd like some answers to some stuff. And, you just want to grow. So today, particularly right now in this particular episode, I'd like to delve into this matter of Istunywa. You know, um, I belong to several groups on Facebook around izinto zamadlozi or spirituality and so forth. And one thing that I've seen quite prevalent, I mean, yes, a lot of people are facing a lot of challenges in terms of their spiritual growth and their spiritual journey, right? However, something has really piqued my interest as something that is coming up quite predominantly in terms of the challenges that people are facing when it comes to their spiritual journey, their spiritual growth. And it has stood out like a sore thumb. And this is the issue of Istunya. And I'm afraid to, give an English word for Istunya, right? Because there doesn't seem to be a general consensus or a generally accepted translation or reference in English for Istunya. But Kasesotho Moronga, right? But for purposes of my discussion and sharing whatever I've learned or whatever I know with you guys, I'll, just to accommodate non Sotho or Zulu speaking persons outside of South Africa, let's refer to Istunywa as maybe your guardian angel. All right. So now a lot of people speak about the challenge of ukulungiselwa or ukulungisa Istunywa, right? And I've seen a lot of people also go on Facebook on these various groups to say, hey, izinto zami zamadlozi, I've done umunguni, I've done mundawu, or I've done amakhosi, but khona lento ukuthi kumele ngilungise isithunywa, or I have to sort out my issue of this guardian angel, the primary angel. All right. And I'm struggling because I've gone from place to place and they cannot get it right, or you find that the cost is astronomical. Just yesterday, I saw somebody who was, just sharing their frustration that, their family doesn't want to support them because it's costing 20,000 Rand. And 20,000 Rand, South African Rands, is not, little money. It's a lot of money. Even for families, this is a lot of money. A number of families can't just cough up 20K. All right. And it seems to be like also the cost around this is a lot. And others out there, some of you, you're trying to sort this out maybe yourselves. There are people whom I know who have been, self-initiated. Whether it's right or it's not right, I wouldn't like to debate that at this particular moment in time, because I don't think anybody can claim to have a monopoly over the knowledge and the wisdom and the intricacies that surround ukukhula kwesimoya, kwamadlozi, ubunyanga, ubungoma, shaman, medium, psychic, so forth. I believe it manifests differently in each and every single one of us. But bringing it back to the subject, ukuthi kahle kahle silungiswa kanjani isithunywa. And in this particular episode with you guys, where I'm having a conversation with you, I would like to just bring some insights which have been a part of my own experience in terms of my own growth. All right. So it does happen. Ogoti, you would think Ogoti, where you need to get help, they need to perform a certain ritual for you, or you need to do a particular ritual, right? And like most people who are traditional healers, practitioners in the space, and so forth, and especially from a Black South African perspective, it seems to be that there's a great deal of emphasis on rituals. All right. And my own experience is telling me otherwise. My own experience, or what I've experienced thus far, and I've seen other people experience, the rituals are important, but they only make up 5%, dare I say, 5% of the work that needs to go into aligning with Istunya Sako, aligning with your guardian angel. So let's start it from now. What exactly are we talking about? Mkhulu Mangestunya, right? And from what I have learned and the experience that I've had is that when we are born, we are assigned a guardian angel from get-go. All right? And this is the angel that then, whose primary purpose is to help us navigate this life that we've been given, this opportunity of life on earth that we've been given, right? In line with the purpose that creation has for us during our time here. Now, my findings had been that when you are born, everything is intact, all right, as a child. You understand? You're not contaminated or traumatized by experiences of this life as yet. So you find that children are more in touch. The younger they are, they are a lot more, just automatically inclined to have a great alignment with their guardian angel, Istunya Sabo, right? But as we grow, we go through a number of experiences that then become traumas, and they shape how we think, they influence how we feel about certain things, and they basically become the catalysts to our emotions as we navigate everyday challenges, as we pursue our ambitions, as we try and, get the next thing, move to the next thing, or achieve certain things in life. So, life is full of disappointments. And imagine those disappointments. They build up inside of you. And as we carry on, life is full of unexpected turns and twists. So, with that, you find you've walked this journey, and so forth. And yet, there's this issue, yes, too, your guardian angel. It's not aligned. All right. And let's give it a thought here. All right. Now that we understand, or we can agree to a certain extent, you might not agree with me 100%, but to a certain extent, is Tunywa Hin Morongwaji, who's this guardian angel. All right. And more than anything else, as we've already described, their primary purpose. All right. We can then even go as far as saying that then it would mean that then this becomes that spirit. Others will even go as far as saying it's the Holy Spirit, all right, or the spirit of creation, that angel of creation, right, or your twin, for lack of maybe a better explanation around this or description, right? And we can then say that they then become the primary communication or communicator between you and your destiny, between you and amadlozi wakho or your ancestors, and so forth, right? And I'm sure some of you might have had ukuthi your journey eyokutwasa or eyokukhula edlotini or with your lozis or your kundalini, right, becomes a lot more easier when you first attend to less tool. whether this is 100% accurate or not, I cannot say for sure, but I can say for sure my side is the more I've aligned with my guardian angel, the easier my journey and my relationship namadlozi emele ngisebenze nawo neyidalwa emele ngisebenze nazo, the ancestors I need to work with, the much more easier it becomes. All right, there's less wrangling, and I find that the guardian angel then acts as that conduit within that relationship. Now, going back to the point that I made, I said that I found that rituals ezokulungisa isithunywa, the actual ceremony or the actual ritual that you would be doing, only accounts for 5% of the actual work that needs to go into ukulungisa isithunywa sakho. Where does the rest of the 95% come from? Well, I can tell you and rest and assure you that there is a reason I spoke about the challenges of life, the disappointments of life. As we grow up, we accumulate a lot of things that manifest as either resentment, as pain, as hate, as anger. And these things shape our attitude in life and how we navigate ourselves through life, right? And they'll either affect us negatively to a point where we become the greatest stumbling block to our own growth and to the things that we want to achieve, because we've got some past traumas or some incidences in our past that we did not exactly heal from, right? We just suppressed. We just chose to try and forget. But little did we know, or little do we understand, that they merely just went deeper within you to become part of your operating system. What do I mean by that? To become part of how you behave at a default system or at a default level, where when you are confronted with something, your automatic and most reaction would be driven by that particular trauma that you suppressed. So let's say that you've been a victim of a crime, a violent crime. You're walking down a certain path or a certain street, and this becomes a trauma. It sits right there in the back. But over and above that, it becomes part of your operating system. The chances of you using that street again or that alley again are like next to zero, right? So the chances you are no longer going to walk along that street. And should it happen that you find yourself in an alley that resembles that kind of alley, right? The chance is you're going to be really, really stressed out, or you're going to be frustrated, or you're going to be quite uncomfortable, right? But what if, for instance, your brain is doing this and you're doing this to protect yourself because now it invokes a memory of a trauma or a violent incident. But what if in this particular alley, there's actually something good that you're supposed to get? I'm just making an analogy, right? Now, your default operating system based on that particular trauma that you had deviates you from going within that alley or going within that route because you've been bent before. And obviously, past experiences are important because they do keep us safe. Once I've put my hand on the stove and it bends, a hot stove or a hot plate, I'm never going to do that. But, it gets a bit more complex than that, because different incidences don't mean you'll have the same outcomes, all right, or the same results. So you need to start tapping into some superior wisdom, all right? This is where we talk about this tool, right? So that 95% that I'm talking about, right, before you can even perform the rituals, and to make sure that whatever rituals that you undertake under whomever would then be your teacher or your mentor, right, they would only work only when you have gotten to a point of healing. And I find that isithunywa sakho anyeke uzusilungise, anyeke silunge. It won't come right until you have dealt with your own pain from the past, your hurt, and all of those things that you harbor, right? So, indlela yokulungisa isithunywa, unlike what we would imagine, oh yeah, I've mele ngihambe and ngingena amabhavu awu-7 and so forth, and khanyisela oh khandlela and so forth, right? None of those things is actually going to work when you are still harboring a lot of negative baggage. What am I referring to in terms of this negative baggage? Well, I'm simply referring to those traumas that I was just talking about, right? Oguchi, you still have anger towards somebody. And this anger now has become something that is built into a toxic state of existence within yourself. You have not forgiven somebody for something that they did, maybe a disappointment. You yourself, you don't know. There's a chance that there are people out there whom you have wronged, right? That you've never even said to even let me pray about this and ask for forgiveness. All right? And it's all good and well, good to tandas. But the point I'm getting to here is tunywa, siolunga. When you yourself face your demons, we all have shortcomings. We all have weaknesses. Take the time to really learn yourself in that regard with your shortcomings and your weaknesses, and also learn yourself in terms of things that now have become part of your default operating system that then control an action or a reaction that you would take. So essentially, towards something a lot more practical in terms of what to do, all right, before you start your journey of performing the rituals that you need to perform, all right, to get isithunywa sakho, your guardian angel, aligned and to find that peace, and for you to be able to, to ensure that when you perform the rituals, they are a success. You have to first go on a journey of healing. Think about things that you've suppressed for so long, things that do not sit well with you to date. Some of them you may not want to confront them. One of the biggest things that plague our society is GBV. So I can imagine a lot of ladies out there are struggling with that kind of trauma, even kids. However, you need to confront this thing. You need to confront this thing that has manifested itself as a toxic entity within your attributes of existence. So, meaning that I would advise you, or what you need to spend time doing before the rituals of ukulungisa isithunywa, is you must go on a journey, practical journey of reflection. First, you reflect. Reflect on things that have been painful, that have caused you to have sleepless nights, that have caused you to hold some kind of anger towards somebody or some people, that have caused you or that are still causing you to have resentment over certain issue. Maybe your parents abandoned you, but we go through so much as a people. Reflect on all those things. Over and above that, also reflect on your own actions where you could have participated in hurting somebody, intentionally or unintentionally. That's number one. Number two, you need to now say, intentionally, I am going on a journey of healing. And that will come with forgiving yourself and forgiving those who have hurt you. Because when you hold on to that anger and so forth, it becomes something that then controls and dictates your reactions and your behaviors. And most of the time, that is a negative thing. So practically, what you would do is, once you've reflected and you've analyzed, you need to come to an understanding that I am not going to be okay until I have resolved these issues. And you need to be honest. If it's therapy you seek, go for therapy. Speak to a professional. If you need to speak to a counselor, a praying counselor, or a clergyman, or a prophet, but do understand that you will be going to offload, or you will be going to just bear it all, right? And now, you see, we are still on the 95% of the work that you got to do. The next thing that you've got to do is, especially when you're talking about forgiving others and also receiving forgiveness, it needs to be followed up by action. It's all good and well to meditate or to pray or kupasha and speak with your mouth, with your lips, and confess that I have wronged such and such person, and therefore I am asking for forgiveness. And you are speaking to your Creator. You're speaking to that essence of life, and you're genuinely confessing through your heart, right? That's the step you take. And also, it's all good and well that you must also go through a process of meditation and prayer, or upasha, you understand, to ask for forgiveness, because it can be very difficult, right? But to ask for forgiveness, genuinely realize and recognize the hurt that you've caused others, and earnestly ask for forgiveness. But it doesn't end there. Here's the kicker. I have found that the speed of your healing and the speed of your recovery and the speed of becoming unchained from the blockages that could have been brought about by these traumas and these things that you've done to others, because we are the ones that judge ourselves the most. You know when you've done wrong, and you will tend to navigate life with an underlying sense of not feeling like you're not deserving. So half of the time you self-sabotage yourself. But if you can identify, and don't just pick the easiest, identify action points, all right? You need to take action in asking for forgiveness and in forgiving others. Practical example. You've got an ex-girlfriend. Maybe you've dated quite a few people in your life. Pick one or two as part of the exercise, and go and, if you can, ask their time. Humble yourself, exercise some humility, and go and apologize. Maybe it ended a long time ago. It will free you up so much. Genuinely go and apologize to that one person. That action goes so much further, and it accelerates your speed of healing. And as you heal, as you forgive others, as they forgive you, even call that one who wronged you, and they know that, what, just call them and say, listen, I wanted to take the time to release you from any guilt that might be holding you as a result of how things ended between us. I know I wasn't perfect, but I am here to apologize for my part in hurting you. But more than anything else, I am here to forgive you and let it all go. And you'll find that as you do this, you'll feel a weight lifting from your shoulders. You will become a lot more lighter. And this has to then become a way of life. It can't be something that oh, I will apologize and so forth. No, you adopted this way of life to be mindful and aware of the things that you do, how you hurt others, how others hurt you, how you hold on to those things by not forgiving. I'm not saying that still be friends with them. Some situations are so bad. So, very rare that you want to go out and, oh, I've forgiven you as a person that, was responsible for the violence, GBV against me. Oh, and I want us to be friends. No. But you can visit that man, that woman in prison and say, I'm here to forgive you. I can tell you, in as much as you'll be doing them a great deal of healing by just that, you will be doing yourself a lot more greater of a deal for your healing. And you'll see that we all have different circumstances. So from person to person, it might take a bit longer, for others, a bit shorter. But you'll find, Uguti, as you do this and you are letting go of all this baggage, you start becoming a lot more at peace. And when you start finding this peace starts creating a perfect environment for you and your guardian angel to start having an active relationship that is clear, and they can start being the guardian angel they were meant to be, because you no longer have baggages that you are carrying and blockages. All right? So that's the practical essence. Yokulungisa isithunywa. Then you can come with the rituals. Maybe in between of doing this process, there'll be ritual 1, ritual 2, ritual 3, but you will eventually get there. I wish you all of the best. I send blessings your way, and may you find your growth, and may you find your peace. And with that said, I hope I've shared something that you can go and apply practically. Until next time, thank you so much for joining me in this here episode. And if you'd like to send me an email, drop me an email, thecalling@yourmedia.co.za. thecalling@yourmedia.co.za. It's very, very easy, and I look forward to engaging with you. Thank you so much once again for taking time out of your busy schedule to come and just listen to some of the things that I have to share with you. I really appreciate you. You're here because you're spiritually curious. Adios, amigos.